All right, we need some Pepto-Bismol for Stephen A. Smith's stat. And the good news is, Stephen A., it keeps alive your dream NBA final, Lakers and Heat, which means that we would be traveling back and forth between Southern California and South Beach. That could cheer you up. All right, I have to let you go. 20 minutes, the first take. We will see you then, my man, and then I'll see you back here in New York later this week. Thank you, Stephen A.
All right.
That's great, Steve. Joining us with Tim Legler and company alongside, and Stephen A. Smith about to join us in a moment. The thrilling finish from L.A. last night as the Lakers took the 3-1 series lead against the Warriors after a series of...
There's nowhere to go with the basketball. You turn it over. Nothing worse than not getting a shot off in a critical situation late in the game.
But they did have one more chance. They had a timeout remaining.
I'm kind of scared, Greeny.
Uh-oh. Why is that?
Kind of scared of what I want to see on national television. I'm so disgusted with Julius Randle. I'm so disgusted with R.J. Barrett. Little less than Julius Randle. I'm not disgusted with anybody more than I'm disgusted with Julius Randle. I'm on the verge of asking for him to be traded. I'm just disgusted. I think that this series is over. I think that the New York Knicks, orange and blue skies, it was a nice run. I'm very proud of Jalen Brunson and the kind of impact that he's had on the New York Knicks. As much as I respect and adore Tom Thibodeau and the coach that he is, I'm looking at the personnel that he didn't use and the people that he trusted and he relied upon and how they haven't come through for him. It would have been nice to see him throw a twist in the mix, even throwing some of the bodies we haven't seen throughout the regular season into it, a la Evan Fournier or Derrick Rose, even give somebody some help, because with what Julius Randle has been doing, I mean, you might as well try anything. I'm on the verge of coming on national television and asking for the man to be traded. I mean, just the regular season is one thing, but the postseason, don't get me started with what he does in the postseason. I'll get into all of that on First Take, but my heart's hurting. I'll admit it. I'm emotional when it comes to the New York Knicks, not objective when it comes to them at all. I will openly concede that to the public at large, but I am utterly disgusted. I vomited last night watching them. I have to admit that. I literally vomited. Should be an APB out for him right now. We can't find him. He's MIA. There's an APB somewhere. And then the pout after the game, the way that he has with the media and everybody else, he has been an absolute catastrophe in these playoffs. There is no way to slice it. So everywhere you look, things are looking bleak for the Golden State Warriors. But I'm here to tell you, it ain't over.
Well, let's then pick up on that thought if we can. Give me the Warriors' path to getting back in this series starting tomorrow night in San Francisco.
Well, make shots, cut down on the turnovers, and Klay Thompson and Steph Curry have to step up. I have no doubt Steph Curry will. I'm just wondering when his brother is going to show up and be consistent. Certainly he showed up the game before last night, but the reality of the situation is you need consistency from Klay Thompson to some degree. If Klay Thompson is playing a good game along with Steph Curry, the Golden State Warriors win these games. You can't get any consistency out of him right now. That's really the situation, but it's been a story for the Golden State Warriors all season long. One day they look like champions. Another day they look like a lottery team. And sometimes they look in between, but in the same breath, they turn the ball over at key moments and what have you, and you just find yourself looking at them and scratching your head and saying, my God, don't you all remember that you're champions? Don't you remember what it took to become champions?
And at the game last night was the one, the only, Stephen A. Smith, who was up early and ready for a first take in a half hour. Stephen A., thank you for coming in early for us here this morning. Before I ask any questions, you were there last night. What is your number one takeaway from the Lakers' big win in Game 4 last night?
Well, that was a big-time performance by Lonnie Walker IV, coming off the bench and producing the way that he did with 15 fourth-quarter points. Got to give him major, major props. Outside of that, the discombobulated, undisciplined, just dysfunctional-looking Golden State Warriors, the reigning defending NBA champions. I just don't know how to count the ways. I look at Steve Kerr. You started Gary Payton the second. Why the hell didn't you finish the game with him? Didn't you see that Lonnie Walker was having his way? Did you think Steph was going to be able to guard him successfully? I mean, stop it. You got to put Gary Payton the second in that game. That's number one. You need his defense and his energy. That's what you started. That's why you started him. You finish with him that way. Number two, Klay Thompson. I don't know what the hell is going on with him. We know he's a four-time champion, one of the top 5 shooters in the history of basketball. Don't know what the hell is going on with him. A virtual no-show. And that last shot that he heaved, I don't know what he was thinking. There was plenty of time on the shot clock. I don't know what he was thinking by launching a shot like that. You saw Steph Curry's body language. You saw Draymond Green's body language. And you saw Steve Kerr just throw his hands behind his head and just bend down, just look at him. What the hell was he thinking? too experienced, too much of a veteran, too accomplished to make such a boneheaded decision like that. And then obviously some of the key turnovers down the stretch, a couple of key turnovers by the sensational Steph Curry, had a triple-double, played an outstanding game, but there was a back here at the Crypto.com arena, and then potentially a Game 7. We shall see.
Yeah, they play every other night. So Game 5 is tomorrow night in San Francisco. Game 6, if necessary, is back in L.A. on Friday. We would have that for you on ESPN. And then the game Sunday we would have as well if there is a Game 7 in San Francisco. Let's talk about the Lakers, though, because this is a team, and Wendy's been pointing it out with us all morning long. I mean, they were 12th in the West with a couple of weeks to go in the regular season. But even then, you and Wendy and others, and Kendrick Perkins, I know on First Take multiple times, said this is a team that if it comes together right, could find themselves making a deep playoff run. And right now, Stephen A., Caesars Sportsbook has them the favorites in the West. Do you think they are?
Well, I don't think they're the favorites as of yet, not with the way Devin Booker and Kevin Durant played last game and the kind of show that Devin Booker, the light-skinned Mamba, that's what I call him, with the show that he's putting on. That's number one. I would remind everybody that Denver's still the Golden State Warriors to serve as an impediment to the greatness of Anthony Davis, who, by the way, deserves a lot of props because he finally showed up in back-to-back games instead of taking every other game off. But when you're going up against Jokic, although I consider Anthony Davis to be his kryptonite to some degree in terms of negating the greatness of Jokic, he did just drop 53. The man knows how to put the ball in the hole, and he knows how to play, and he's certainly not some small dude that you can push around. So it's a different animal that they pose. But the Los Angeles Lakers are a better team, and I think we got to stop acting but so surprised. Remember, when they made the trade, which GM Rob Pelinka deserves all the credit in the world for, understand that Russell Westbrook, as good as he was as a